Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. 4 versus 4 Sunday Setons special coming up. It's the 29th of January 2023 as I cast this same date for the game in question. These 4 players meeting up on a game that was stipulated to be 1,300 rated and happens to average out at 1,670. It's a custom balance, so max confusion to be expected. Let's clear on the overlays. And if you're ready and the logo's ready, we'll jump on in. It's Forge Lines Forever. Here we go. Alrighty then, so Setons Clutch, we know it well. The all-time, probably most played map ever, although I guess Gap is fast. Well, closing the gap. Let's unpause the game then, and we'll start over with Team 1. And Team 1 today on the northern side. Correction. Hang on, let's see. Terrible start. Team 1, let's see, is a purple guy. Most of the purples, apart from one, just to throw us off. Okay, so we are indeed on the northern side. Thank goodness for that, Team 1. At least it's not switching sides on the same map. You know, there's some people thinking, oh, sod this. I'm off already. Don't got a clue which way's left or right. Starting in the rear then, it's Jackie, the 1900 rated Cybran. He'll be rearguard air, going first land. Ways over to his south in the clockwise position. It's Cascade from the British BS Corp. BBC. Seraphim 1700 also going first land. He's playing the cliff position and no doubt is going to make a move for the side island. In the central place, it's Gulmo 1700 UEF in orange, and he is already beginning to move in UEF com. That's the spot I like to be. Front on Setons, UEF commander. Although usually I'd have a mech marine and a scout running down the side, kind of like what we've got going on here. Obviously, once players are wise to that, and looks like Gulmo maybe is. He's sending a solitary scout down. I'll have to see if he picks it up. We'll slow down time a little bit. Last but not least, then for the northern side, I guess I should just call them the northeast to avoid further confusion. Nah, Team 1, it's Last Dragon of 1400. As playing Seraphim. Loads of Seraphim players lately. I can't believe how many people I've seen on Seraphim of late. Over then onto the flip side, and it will start at the top again. It's JT 1600 also going Seraphim. Going first air, no doubt wants to ensure he gets that side island. In front slot, it's put out 1800 rated going Cybran. And although I really like Cybran as a race, again, I was a big-time front Setons player. If somebody against me was Cybran, there was almost no chance they were ever going to win. Again, there was like 2 or 3 players, depending on the day, that could really give me a good game on the front. You know, I was just that. I was a one-trick pony. Front Setons, I would win almost all day long. Any other position, well, gets dicey. But if somebody went against me as Cybran, almost for sure, no matter who it was going to lose. Over then towards the south, we've got Vinyl, another one from the British you-know-what corp, and he is 1300 rated. Also Seraphim, going first land, kind of slow to pick up his hydro. Not entirely sure why that is. Has at least 2 NGs already on reclaim, and as seems to be standard meta now, scurried up to the front to help his forward position there. Put out. Not seeing the same from Last Dragon. So Last Dragon, at least not yet, moving to the mid. That could result a 2-on-1. We'll have to see if that makes any impact at all. And last but not least, in the rear with gear for Team 2, it's Protect. UEF grabbing an upgrade there on his mass extractor. Already has one. That is a complete teched up 2 mass extractor, and it's inside 3 minutes. What the hell? Things have certainly changed since I were a lad. Many years ago, you know, I had to walk 5 miles to school. All right, let's bring our players back. Everybody introduced. Some chats going out. Overall, then, let's have a look at the balance. Not being AI balanced, and that kind of obvious because, you know, Fireys and Coolies feature prominently, well, entirely on AI, and as well, the percentage is much higher usually than 94%. Usually it's like 98, 99, and often 100% balance. This game, 94%. Slightly, I was going to say, who's it favouring? The averages on both teams, 1675. So I'm thinking, let me just slow this down. Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. If the game is not 100% balanced, but the teams average out as 1675 apiece on average, where's the discrepancy? And I can only assume that it is somehow related to Protect being a 2000, who is the only 2000 in the game, and Jackie on the flip side is a 1900. Is the auto balance somehow accounting for the spread of players as much as it accounts for the average on the team overall? Maybe. Because clearly if you put 1675 versus 1675, you'd think that would be 100%. So there must be some additional sums going into the computer there. And I can only assume it's something to do with where are the highest rated players and how are they spread or not. Again, traditionally, and the way I've always seen it is just before we unpause, even if two teams are completely balanced on the average, if you have higher rated and lower rated players on one team and the other team, they're all exactly down the middle, the team with the higher and lower rated players providing full share is on, which it usually is on Setons, more often than not is the team that's going to win. And I wonder if the AI balance has realized that and thought that's why we're going to favor one team. We'll have to see. What is favoring one team is having two commanders in the mid here, and it looks like Put Out, well aware of the fact his pal is about to come out of the drink and is just focusing on Gulmo's ACU, forgets about the reclaim, and that's because he knows two ACUs in the middle versus one means as soon as he has to hide, he can't come out again, and that is all the mass there going for the lower team. That could well be the case. Gulmo, though, is setting up shop with quite a large number of engineers very close to the front line. This is somewhat unusual. Point defense, build walls around your point defense. The walls make the point defense like 10 times harder to kill. And Gulmo is trying to grab a little bit of mass. And as we zoom out, as no surprises there, JT grabbing his island. He was first there. That was not unexpected whatsoever. Cascade grabs his island, not unexpected either. Cascade being the 1700 rated versus Vinyl, who's 1300. And so although they're both purple, a lighter purple, Cascade 400 rating points ahead of his guy and has the rock or slash cliff position with the side island. Expect massive dominance therefore from this guy. Cannot go any other way. Twice the eco, more than, well, I don't know. I mean, say twice the rating, like 2000 is like way more than twice the rating of 1000, even though it sounds like it's just twice. It's not. The way the scoring it, I believe it's off some chess scoring, the way that the international chess rating system works. Again, you can read all about it. It gets real deep into numbers, but essentially the higher up the rating the player is, the harder and harder it is to get to that rating. and if they don't play for a set amount of time, they start getting rating knocked off and all sorts. So the higher rated guys, like the 2000 rated, there is no way that a 1000 rated player is ever going to beat a 2000 rated player. It's not like, oh, well, half the time they would win. No. Well, 1 game in 10? No. Like, 1 game in a million? Maybe. If the 2000 rated is drunk, maybe. That said, in the middle, it looks like Gulmo is in a right spot of bother. Put out already with the gun, firing into the point defense at range. Sweeps them aside with no difficulty at all, taking out engineers. Gulmo's weak with his ACU. He can't hang around. He's desperately trying to put down more point defense with his engineers, but at this point, I'm not sure. Maybe, you know, using the factories as a little bit of shielding is going to allow him to get maybe 2 or 3 more shots out than he would otherwise. But look at this. Put out is almost not using his forces. It's all the commander. A bit of fancy dance work. And Gulmo chucking his units away. He's on the run. At 8 minutes, put out the 1800, rolling the 1700. Granted, Vinyl was in the area. He did help shave off a few hit points. But this is one of the quickest rolls I've seen since my day. And I used to love rolling players. The problem was, if they had good Navy guys, you know, the rolling only went so far. And it looks like Gulmo is dicing with death here. He's about halfway towards his next rank of vet. 1600 rating points left. But his opponent is starting to run out of Mantis. He gets an overcharge. 900. 900. Another OC. 850. And I don't believe it. Gulmo gets away. Potentially put out. Didn't want to kill him. He's certainly got enough units. He just didn't have them in the right place at the right time. And it looks like Put Out is still applying the pressure, but Gulmo now with another rank of vet. I think the immediate threat to his life is off. The problem is Gulmo has got almost nothing to stop. In fact, nothing. It's his commander and that's it. Engineers back at base. He's got 1 Tech 1 bomber. Well, there is that. Now 2. Very nice bomb there. And Gulmo, no choice but to go loose and fast with his commander. If he's not loose and fast with this, his base is gone and he's irrelevant. And Put Out might be here early enough to start setting up shop. If you can set up shop before your Navy guys start putting T2 cruisers in especially, get a tactical missile launcher, you can set these 3 bases back. So far, and I don't believe it, the Tech 1 bombers from Gulmo, no less, 2 air factories in the back, is the only thing keeping Put Out away. And when I say the only thing, Put Out now down to below 2000. We've also got a Tech 2 point defense now from Gulmo. And Put Out, if he don't get air or some AAA, some are saying, why do you call it AAA? It's is it not the same as AA? Well, AAA is like anti-aircraft artillery. AA, I guess, is anti-aircraft. Either way, I says thanks for letting us know. I'll save the A. Let's just call it AA. And Put Out desperately asking for help. He does now have a few interceptors in the area. Put Out this time with a fancy footwork to about 800 hit points. Does manage to get away with it. Both players coming very close to death inside the 10 minutes or so. Now edging towards 11. And with that, we've had to ignore almost everything else taking place. And what's this? Vinyl with a drop. Looks like it's been picked up at last. Apologies for missing that. And that drop up the rear of Gulmo's base takes out his hydro, takes out a large percentage of his power generation facilities. Does he get the Tech 2 mass point? Does he get the triad before it completes? Well, the triad completes, and with the bombers in the air, Is he going to pick up the Tech 2 mass point? Triad's shooting into the side of a hill. I think that could have gone a lot worse for Gulmo. He was already in a real precarious position. And Vinyl, the 1300 rated, playing way above his weight at this period. Moves the Seraphine on, picks off a Tech 2 mass point there belonging to Last Dragon, apologies. Get your glasses on, there's no excuse. I know, I hear you. I just hate wearing them. Never had to wear them in my life. Got them prescribed about 2 months ago, had them on twice. Maybe now's the time to put them on again. Wow. Vinyl, the 1300, puts the 1700 to shame. Look at state of his base. Cascade forced to deal with this massive drop. Very well played indeed. ASF on ASF meanwhile. Minute 12, very early ASF engage. And it looks like Jackie has lost. Protect. With ASF on the other side of the map, minute 13, going his way. For a moment, it looked like Jackie was having real nice turns. He just didn't quite have the numbers to make it pay. That leaves Protect with 13 ASF, 2 scouts. And Jackie pulls back what he has left for. Time for Jackie to regroup. It's only 100 rating points below his opponent Protect. But it looks like Gulmo feeling a little emboldened now that his commander's only on fire on one side, not two. Health almost back up to 50%. Has decided to come out of base and deal with business up close and personal. And who can blame him? He had almost no units left to do anything else with. And for sure has got the gun. There grabbing his 3rd rank of vet. And despite Cascade's problems on the base, Navy-wise looking very strong now. Cruisers sent in. He's got frigates. Now the cruisers beat torpedo bombers. Torpedo bombers beat frigates. The problem is I don't see any destroyers from Cascade. And Vinyl, and there you see it. He read my mind. All he has to do is put out these little Tech 1 subs. They will destroy this Navy for naught. At least for now, Cascade has got nothing to hit back with. Yes, his cruisers are going to do quite a bit of damage, providing Vinyl keeps his sub moving. You can't leave it over on the far side of the drink, out of range. Come on, Vinyl. Move your submarine. That's all you've got to keep yourself alive. It's a brilliant unit, but you got to use it. And there he is. Mass points just evaporating there from Vinyl, getting picked apart by these massive long-range Seraphine cruisers. Real nice unit, kind of similar to the UEF cruiser, but something about them just looks better. Even though, again, I do like my UEF. Sam, Sight and Flak all in one, and yeah, now look at this. Vinyl, he knows, yeah, the frigates are a problem, but focus on these. These are a bigger problem. And the first cruiser about to go down. It's near its 3rd rank of vet, but I don't think it's going to get it. Certainly not before death. And Vinyl, very nice counter indeed. And as soon as he gets rid of that cruiser, he can send in more torpedo bombers. Yeah, little mistake there from Cascade, sending in too many units with no ability to hit back against submarines. What we have here, torpedo bombers dealing with the frigates, submarines dealing with the cruisers. Vinyl 117, very well played. Again, not like he's a beginner, he's a 1300, but lowest rated player in the game. Up against a very seasoned player, like we've said, with twice the economy. And Gulmo just balls to the wall, 4-star, 100% repaired. Remember, he was dicing with death before, sub 1000. Swarmed with Mantis. And he's here with the gun just blapping away. And it seems like Put Out thought once we push him back, he won't come out, and Put Out didn't bother to build anything that would repel the commander. And yet Gulmo, with his Tech 1 bombers that kept him in the game just 5 minutes ago, is now full out offensive. Put Out has also repaired up, although it looks like Protect with his ASF now is going to put an end to the party that Gulmo's been enjoying. Picks off a Tech 2 and a second Tech 2 and missile defense. He's got a few bombers left. Protect out of position. 3 bombers there remain. And I bet at this point Gulmo can't believe his luck, what he's been able to do. Is he going to pick another one off? See Protect desperately trying to hang on to it. So Put Out rather desperately trying to hang on to it. Ordering his engineers to repair, but he loses it. 3 mass extractors, at least 2 of which were Tech 2, going down to Tech 1 bombers, while his teammates had ASF right in the area. Unforgivable. Northside JT looking very strong in the northern drink. Not been too much action over here. Looks like these guys preferring to turtle up a bit, get together numbers. The problem is, as we said a million times, I mean, JT's a 1600. He's by no means a beginner. But if you're getting this many units out this quickly, your opponent doesn't have, it's often better to use them rather than wait for your opponent to finish doing whatever he's doing and then be on the back foot 10-15 minutes later. We'll have to see. Looks like JT moving in with a probing attack, a solitary ship. Maybe just to see what's going on. This is what JT can see. Well, intel galore, massive wave of scouts going in. He wants to know, what is my opponent doing? And the answer is, Last Dragon is Tech 2 with about 1 million engineers going for max production capability. And JT, what is this? It's just a real deliberate probing attack. Well, Protect with a massive torpedo run, picking apart Last Dragon, and that is harsh. JT, the stronger player versus the weaker player. The stronger player once again with Rock, assisted with his air guy, picking apart the weaker player. I hate seeing this. The weakest player in the weakest spot getting picked on by stronger players working together. How cruel. Some say, no, that's just good teamwork. Well, it is good teamwork. It's just a shame you have to pick apart the weakest guy. Used to be you'd go after the strongest player first as a team. Used to be. Who knows? Everything's changed. And somehow, despite all of this, Last Dragon is still not out of it. I thought with all that Navy, all those 3 shots from the torpedo bombers, looks like the last 2 are about to go down. In no small part thanks to this cruiser with 20 kills. That cruiser, no doubt about it, has kept Last Dragon in this game. His team didn't have the air to deal with that. The only thing was this cruiser, and that cruiser, those 20 kills, I reckon at least half of those were those torpedo bombers. And yeah, Last Dragon with nothing else but T1 frigate, does have 1 cruiser, 1 destroyer heavily damaged. Yet more torpedo bombers coming in from the 3rd guy. Wow, they really don't want Last Dragon to have any breathing space. We'll check back in a minute. On the south side, it's the opposite. Cascade is up against his teammates, and this again didn't really used to happen in my day. Seems almost standard now. The front player, once they've done their bit in the middle, they kind of wall it off, come back and put Navy in the drink on the side of the weaker side. And again, the weaker almost always is going to be the beach with access to fewer mass spots. It's kind of even if beach can rush and grab this and hold on to it, but very nice. And Put Out here with some sizable Tech 2 already. And it would seem again that Cascade is almost neglecting destroyers. He's just going frigates and cruisers. I don't understand this play. providing the destroyers don't stay still and they keep wiggling and jiggling, so these missiles aren't allowed to just impact on static targets. This is only going to go the southern team's way, but it does need them to move. Here we see what happens when you keep your ships still. The missiles just impact for free. Keep wiggling and jiggling. The cruisers don't have a chance. And it looks like Put Out maybe recognizing the situation. He's got a counter intel boat. That's going to allow these to hide off radar, providing they don't stroll into visual range. Let's have a little look. And they don't see it. Oh, they see one of them now. And that's all thanks to that intel boat. These cruisers do carry a radar. It's not Omni, but it's a radar. Now we see some of the boats there strolling into visual range, and that will allow the targeting computers. But again, these missiles just... I don't understand why the southern team didn't capitalize on that situation. I think Cascade was kind of lucky to get away with that. He does now have a couple of destroyers in the mix. Third one coming in. Meanwhile, over in the north side, JT has completely kicked Last Dragon out. The exception of one submerged destroyer with 5 kills so far. Hero destroyer. That was only ever going to happen. You have a strong player, and remember guys, Protect sent at least 10 torpedo bombers in, and then at least another 2 or 3 from Vinyl, at least what we saw. There could have been more. And so it really was a 3 versus 1. And now to add insult to injury, the 4th guy Put Out brings a drop with Tech 3 bricks. And at this point, Last Dragon's going to think, what a shit game this is. Who can blame him? And then look at it, 4 versus 1 on the weaker beach side. And then JT sets up shop with 1 million naval yards right off the coastline and is just streaming engineers in, no doubt on reclaim duty. And the problem is, all of that reclaim is going to go to this side who are already winning. And then, my words, they're going to set up shop on the coastline as soon as they've knocked Last Dragon off the coastline. And they're already halfway through doing it. He's dumping point defense here, but the long-range missiles is going to beat that. He needs some Tech 2 artillery, the static artillery, although they're very expensive to build. We see here Jackie, the air player, is moving in to defend with that static artillery, and that is going to be, there we see the rounds coming out. The only thing that is giving JT any moment of pause. And right now they're dealing with frigates. And frigates they're going to get. JT also, correction, Jackie also dealing with the drop here from Put Out. Saving Last Dragon's mass extractor here. Tech 2 halfway onto Tech 3. He's going to need it because he's lost almost everything else. He's in the water. He's desperately trying to get some reclaim. He's got some tactical missile defense. I assume... No, you want them on... No, they're just dead. You want them reclaiming. And I don't believe it. I was going to say Last Dragon completely bullied out the water. That is a lie. He's still got this submerged destroyer with 5 kills. Hero destroyer. And now, exactly what we were suspecting. Engineers on land, en masse, setting up factories. And I'm almost for sure these are just going to be producing one unit over and over. And there we see it. Tech 1 artillery unit. And you can guarantee any money that they're all going to be doing this. And if there's one exception, there's maybe going to be one producing engineers to reclaim stuff. quick check then on the south side, and a much more even Stevens game there. That's thanks to Put Out, who got in the sea in time to prevent Cascade there completely overwhelming Vinyl 117. Of course, Vinyl 117, before he even went Navy, had his shenanigans with that massive drop over here, and that set both of these players back somewhat. I think it hurt Cascade a lot more than Gulmo, but Gulmo was already pushed ways back anyways. And Gulmo now, with an Atlantis, an experimental aircraft carrier that of course can submerge like a submarine. I don't see too many of these built, and you never did. And probably there's your answer. It's about to go down for naught. Oh, it did get one kill. It did manage to pick off a solitary NG before it went down, but yeah. Not the most cost-effective experimental I've ever seen built in all my life, I have to say. How much mass does that leave? Well, 4,851. JT, relentless with the pressure, has been bullied off the coastline. Last Dragon there with a bunch of hover tanks. They're going to be a real nice counter to these engineers. If you've got to keep them moving so that the long-range missiles don't land in, keep them moving. Send some this way, some that way. The engineers have got no way to hit back. Come on, so split them up, man. Split them up. And somehow, Last Dragon has been allowed to get a factory back up. He's somehow gotten a second destroyer together. I'm not sure if that was gifted to him or if it came out of some sort of teleportation. I didn't see how he get it. He's got to take one factory upgrade into T2. I did not see where that second destroyer came from. There's going to be somebody saying it was there the whole time. I only saw the one. But these have got a huge amount of vet. Last Dragon, I'm just going to give 10 points right now to the top team. Their ability to get Last Dragon back into the drink after what we just seen from the lower team is incredible and easy worth 10. Do you know what? Let's even give them 15 points. It was that good. Over on south side, Cascade, kind of a one-trick pony at the minute with these Tech 2 Seraphim cruisers. Evil machine. Look at the range. Should not be allowed. Just utter destruction here. Vinyl's naval yards going down. SAM sites, tactical missile defense just completely overwhelmed. And at this point you got to start and think, while it was a little even Stevens for a while, I don't think it's going to last too much longer. This time Cascade plays like he knows what he's doing. Destroyers up the front with beam weapons, cruisers in the rear with their long-range missiles. None of this sending cruisers up against submarines. Maybe he was just doing that to lol. Vinyl into a false sense of security. And Vinyl here with a ton of NGs, just about clinging onto his Tech 2 HQ. Put Out using his naval yards defensively because he's got no choice. But with this many destroyers and cruisers inside 30 minutes. Wow, Cascade. Looks like he's played this game once or twice before. Isolated groups of torp bombers trying to pick off cruisers. Does manage to pick off the most exposed cruiser. But they're never going to get a second pass with all that anti-aircraft fire there that is available. One cruiser goes down to a lucky shot from a Tech 2 static artillery. Just happened to land right. And then Cascade thinks, right, you've had your shot, that's the end of it. I'm moving in. You lot can move out. Pack your bags. I'll see you next week elsewhere. And JT, I'm not sure is going to be able to hold this by himself. He's up against 3 players now. It's 3 versus 1. And Last Dragon has got to be feeling like, I know I said it was a shit game, but actually I'm really enjoying this. And who can blame somebody for feeling like that? Usually when a beach gets bullied out, that's it, game, set, match, the dude, you know, leaves. If he's able to use his commander at all, if his teammate feel bad for him and give him one mass point so he can do something somewhere. But they've been able to completely restore him. And he's been able, and these floating tanks, as long as he keeps moving them. Wow. Very well played. Increasing numbers of torpedo bombers here from Vinyl 117. And they are starting to reduce the number of cruisers here. I'm just wondering what's Cascade's next plan. You see, he's held off producing stuff back here. He's gone Tech 3, and I'm thinking you may see him unpause some of these factories because these torpedo bombers are starting to make headway. Not sure why they didn't continue the run there. Oh, I did see they're dealing with these guys. And Cascade, at least for now, cruisers out of position, is going to give these torpedo bombers a couple of free passes before then moving in as well. First nuke coming out then from the north side, and it's planting firmly central. Oh, that's sad. Put out. The 1800 rated who was halfway through building a crab loses both the commander, his life, and the crab. Very nice nuke. Minute 32. What's left of his base goes over to protect. We have here a Soul Ripper. Not often the Soul Ripper is one of the first experimentals to come out. And that Soul Ripper, well, he doesn't like the look of all that flak and all those missiles. Decides, I'm going to go the other way for a bit. I was hoping he was going to wreck some carnage. Gulmo, though, with the two experimental underwater aircraft carriers there, this time gathering up more than one kill. So there is that. We do have a defense satellite, though, from Protect. Glad I was able to catch that. And Jackie there caught a little unawares. Base not shielded. Defense sat is going to be able to get some free shots off. It's all a question of how quick can the sat reload, how quick can Jackie get shields on the area. He's using mobile shields to try and plug the gap while he gets static shields put into place and upgraded. And looks like he just about manages to get away with it there. I reckon he's going to need to hang on to this shield. Protect. Is he going to burn through? He does burn through the mobile shields. Gets one, if not two. This shield gen, if it's allowed to complete, I think may put an end to the limited party. Protect, though, with another experimental. Too much going on just to focus on that. And yeah, Cascade now bullying the South team completely out of the water. Kind of a reverse of what we saw up here a few moments ago, although Cascade has apparently been able to do this by himself. Vinyl, with the only counter he knows, mass factory spam, mass RT spam. I don't think he's got the eco to produce it. Naval engage on the north side looking much more fluid, and looks like neither team is realizing that there even is a middle. We've got Tech 3 capped off mass extractors on the front line. That gives you an idea of how much is getting sent up and down the middle. Two satellites from Protect now over on the far side. And more getting produced all the time. Protect, how many? I assume, is he just making more and more of these? Well, he's got 3 so far, assuming he didn't build anything else. Now, those satellites, they seem to move a little faster than I recall. And I wonder where he's bringing them to. I guess he realizes, yeah, Jackie, all right, you've shielded up your base. Where else can I bring these guys? And where's he bringing them? Over this way. Cascade. And a Cascade has been oh, he's got an unshielded missile launcher. It's about 90% on the way to a new nuke. And the Sats are moving in. There's no shield. He's down on power. The Sats are going for it. Huge mistake from Cascade. Huge mistake. Very well seen. Nice pickup there from Protect. I do not understand why Cascade did not have just a regular Seraphim shields, man. It had to take those satellites all week to burn through that shield. And the rest. Cascade's base in tatters. There goes some strategic missile defense. What's he got to stop this now? What? One mobile UEF shield? I mean, he's very strong on the front, and that's going to continue to be. And more Sats coming over. Is Protect the guy that is going to protect the reputation of the South team? Granted, the front static, you can't argue that. Certainly the south side has gone in T1's favour. The north side was starting to go T1's favour for a while, but JT playing absolutely incredible considering it's a 3 versus 1. Granted, more like a 2 versus 1. But with this many battleships, he's sending engineers in all the time, and I assume it's a mixture of frigate spam and reclaim duty. So much mass. Let's have a see. Can we have a guess? 5, 9, 3, 3. Yeah, 20 or 30,000 mass, easy. And now the battleships from Cascade arriving on the forward line. These are just going to knock holes through anything that's left and push the Southern team all the way back to this point here. Protects forward mass points. And with that, Vinyl is effectively out of the game. It's just whether somebody on his team feels bad for him and decides to hand him something over or not, as to whether his ACU, you know, if nothing else, build a quantum gateway, chuck out RAS preset support commanders, you know, and if you've got a couple of Tech 3 mass points gifted over, your team's spilling energy, you know, within 5 or 10 minutes you can certainly become relevant again. We'll have to see. Of course, nobody wants to give up their mass extractors, do they? Although Vinyl, I don't know, we could get creative and start trying to drop some engineers. And JT, despite a huge number, let's just have a little look here. 10 battleships on the 39th minute versus what looks like 5. Gulmo with 4. Alright, it's kind of even Stevens. I do think, though, there is an advantage to JT, and that's not just that he controls all his navy single-handed, although that is an advantage as well. It's he is reclaiming like no tomorrow. Blackheart, one of the all-time, if not the best Forge Lines player there ever was so deadly because he reclaimed start to finish like nobody else. Doesn't matter what the map was, and his shtick was mainly 1 versus 1. Just reclaim, reclaim, reclaim. And that allowed him to bulldoze but he could just outproduce because his reclaim was probably giving him more economy than what he had coming out the ground. Jackie now hovering air over Cascade's navy. And that's because he knows there's no way that the South team is going to engage air when it's above 1 million cruisers. And here we see it now. Cascade with the Tech 1 factory spam and the artillery spam. Protect does have a way to counter that for now, and that is a Megalith Megabot. And that will feed it eventually veterancy. It will take it time, because these artillery pieces not worth very much. Used to be, back in my day, the veterancy was based on kills, and so even if you just killed Tech 1 Land Scouts, if you killed 25 of them, you got your vet. Protect with his 3 satellites is just going after anybody who doesn't have a properly defended base. We do have 1 strategic missile defense here from Gulmo, and the shield is about to collapse. Oh, was that a mistake? He could have got the shield. Defend your nuke defense. Gulmo raining in mobile missile, and he loses it. That was close. That's going to allow a nuke to go right into Gulmo's main base, should the lower team have one ready to go. And it wouldn't surprise me, with this many battleships and so on, that even if they don't have one in the base, there'll be one coming out of this navy sooner or later. And JT, as we said, looking increasingly dangerous despite the situation, and I put that all down to his ability to set up so many naval yards and just reclaim. We saw him about 5 or 10 minutes ago ferrying engineers in from base, and their only objective has been to build naval yards and then send in spam or engineers, and it looks like mostly spam. They're just engineers. So let me slow down the game just real brief. I just want to see the situation here. JT, I want to see how much has he reclaimed. 107,000. Cascade with 117. And then the next highest player, 62. The next one, 30. And then we're in the 20,000s. So he's reclaimed 5 times as much as what is typical for everybody else, with the one exception, Cascade. And that's because he's just doing the same thing, but on the other side. Although Cascade is running out of stuff to kill and reclaim at this point. We'll resume back to normal time. And Protect is just burning through bases now. Gulmo, we see, got power difficulties. Shield going down. But if he's got power difficulties, the last thing he's going to want to lose is another ion reactor. Bang! That goes. Protect just ruthless here. And this is going to prevent Gulmo from effectively fighting in the Navy. If he's losing his base, he's losing his economy. And what have we here? Is this an SACU? Yeah. Gonna say, Jackie a bit loose, bringing his commander out front. Although, even with air done, 1 stray scout from the south team spots it. You never know. Stranger things have happened. But, got more ICUs here. What they're doing, upgrading to Tech 3. So not satisfied that the spam is making progress, they're switching what looks like to Tech 3 bot. And that will eventually break through. SACUs just grabbing economy. No shame from Jackie at all. Let's just have a quick count on ASF. Jackie, he's got some at 451 plus another 160 odd that are out of fuel. Needs to get some sort of air repair pad. I wonder if that's partially what's going to happen down here. Who knows? Potentially 600 versus 425. So numbers here relatively even. If Jackie brings these lot in and or refuels it, then it's 4-3 in favour of Jackie. And together with all of these cruisers, Protect is going to have to be very careful where he fights his air fight. Be right on the ball with it, or that's going to go to Team 1's way. Protect, though, with these defense satellites, looks like he's going after the mass options now belonging to Gulmo. And again, the more that he does, the less Gulmo's going to be able to fund this Navy. And this Navy crucial in keeping JT out of the front line. How's JT gone out? I guess he had to leave. I didn't even see where the nuke was. Did he get shot down or apology? I don't know if he control Cade or what. Oh. There's your answer. So this here looks like the Southern team have had enough of what's going on down here. Realizing they can't break through up here. Okay, I know some people are going to say, you know, quitters. Was this game over? Not by a long way. Sometimes when a game's over and it's a case of, you know, fight on for another 2 minutes or quit now, I get it. This was clearly not going to be over in 2 minutes. However, with what's going on down here, the Navy had done its job. There was nothing else the Navy could do other than provide cover for what else is going on here. And that was a given. Top team clearly had air dominance, and top team were clearly beginning to fight back. If we look where some of their forward units are, remember it was back here about 5-10 minutes ago. JT played really, really well. Yeah, he's a 1600. Now, who gets player of the thing? And I realize I'm stringing this out a bit. Most people have already left game over. Well, I'm going to give it to the guy, Vinyl, who was then kicked off. That early drop, together with the support with his commander in mid, when the other guy didn't, pushed Gulmo all the way back. And his ACU almost dead. It had less than 1,000 hit points. He had virtually nothing left in his base. You had Vinyl down here, dropping here. That set Cascade back a bunch, which it did. However, unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough. But for the lowest rated player in the game to contribute in such a huge way, don't forget, despite losing his fight, he was sending torpedo bombers over JT's way to try and ensure that JT would win his fight. Have to hand it as well to Last Dragon, hung on to it despite being kicked out of the drink, came back in like a boss, and together with the assistance there from Gulmo, yeah, it was going your way. Very well played, everybody, and again, part of not seeing replays all the way into the end. I don't know how they're going to end. I checked, I don't want to say exactly halfway through, because then you're always going to know it's going to be a perfect game halfway through, but I certainly check, I was going to say somewhere between 30 and 60, 70%, somewhere around there, just to make sure the game's even, and that one certainly was. So until next time, wherever in the world you may be, take care, bye-bye.